Hey everybody, and welcome back to Bigfoot Cooking. Today's menu, Bigfoot's Retro Pizza Bianca with a whole wheat fresh ground crust. Look at this guy. Is this not something that just says, eat me? Now, for today, this is actually going to be the crust. We are grinding our own wheat berries. Not necessarily something you need to do, but it's going to add a little different taste to it, a different texture, because we're going to be using the whole wheat berry instead of the processed form where you only get the white powdery stuff on the inside. So what do we need to start this party? You know what's up. You know it's right here. We're gonna start with 2.5 cups of flour. Now again, like I say, I'm grinding my own, but you can use all-purpose or whole wheat, whatever you like. You know, it's your pizza. I'm just giving you the general idea. You build it however you want. But we got about 2.5 cups of flour. We're gonna do a packet of yeast. Now, if you're getting yeast like bulk or whatever, it's gonna be about 2¼ teaspoons. 1½ teaspoons of sugar, 3/4 cup of warm water. Like when you do the process, you don't want it to be hot or cold because this is what's gonna feed the yeast. We're gonna do 3/4 teaspoon of salt, 1/4 teaspoon of garlic, and 1/4 teaspoon of basil because, I mean, it is an Italian meal, so you gotta have a little bit of that, along with just a touch of olive oil. There's your crust in 2 nice little carbs. And now, because it's a Bianca, to sound all fancy, I think it's just Italian for white is all it is. We're gonna make a white sauce to go in it. For that, you're gonna need a roux, which is basically equal parts of butter and flour. So 2 tablespoons of butter, 2 tablespoons of flour, 1¼ cup of room temperature milk, 2 garlic cloves, 1/4 cup of Parmesan, 1/4 teaspoon of oregano, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and just a pinch of pepper for just a little bit of seasoning there. And as for toppings on the pizza, my main topping is going to be chicken. But again, it's pizza. If you want to put tomatoes, mushrooms, olives, I don't know, a part off of your old broke down jalopy in the front yard, it's your pizza. You do you. So for the chicken, simple ingredient, we're just going to make 3 breasts. We're going to go ahead and fry them up in butter and add a little SPG. That would be your salt, pepper, and garlic. Just a little bit of seasoning because you want every layer of this pizza to have a little bit of taste in it. So let's get started on the crust. All right, to grind up our wheat berries, I don't know why they're berries. They don't exactly taste delicious like that, but we've got our KitchenAid grinder here. Nice little fancy attachment. You can change the settings on it depending on how fine or how coarse you want it to grind. And it's really simple to operate. What we're gonna do, we're gonna take our wheat berries. I'm gonna turn this guy on, and what we'll do, we'll pour them into the hopper. Now, you see the little screw in the bottom of it? Watch when I cover it with the wheat berries. It just disappears. However, what it's doing is pushing those wheat berries against the front of it. And if you look out, here comes all the powder. Notice how it just grinds and grinds away? We'll give it a few minutes to let it do its thing. And once it gets done, I'll show you the first result. Look at there. We got us a couple of bits of flour. Now what we got to do, because this is a little bit of a coarser grind, we need to go ahead and sift it. We're going to clean out some of the holes that didn't get ground up and make it into more of that fine commercial flour that you're used to seeing. All right, so we're going to take our flour, and I'm using just a normal basic sifter. And what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and pull it through this, and this will take out most of the big stuff. You'll see in a little bit how much is left behind. So just enjoy the show. All right, now that we're finished shaking, you can see right here, we've got some of the husks left behind that, you know, being an at-home grinder, it doesn't quite get it all, but we have a beautiful flour in here, and we're gonna sift it just a little bit more to see how fine we can get it. Okay, and now that you've seen the major part, we're gonna do this. This is a much finer sifter here. I think this is a 60 if I remember right. And what you're gonna get out of this is a lot more like commercial flour. But it takes a lot longer, so I won't bore y'all with the details. So, I don't know, grab a Coke, kick back, relax, and we'll be right back with the final product. And to show you, after running it through this fine screen here, we came out with this much that didn't quite meet the standard. But this is your lovely, soft, more like commercial cake batter. Now you don't have to do this step. If you don't, the flour is just a little bit grainy, but still absolutely delicious. So now that we've got our flour, let's start with the mixing. So for the next step in the crust, we're gonna take our water, pour it in the bowl. We're gonna take our yeast, because we gotta wake these guys up. They've been on vacation. They freeze dry them so they last longer. And, well, they've slept long enough. So we've got our 2 1/4, we'll call that our quarter, of yeast into it. Problem is, now that they're getting hydrated, that's all great and everything, they need something to eat. This is where the sugar comes in. We dump the sugar in there, and once the sugar's in, a little bit of stir. That way the water's sweet, the yeast is eating, everyone's happy. We'll give this guy a chance to wake up and get started, and then we'll dump in the rest of it. All right, we've waited 5 minutes, and if you look in here, you see how this is kind of foamy like a cheap beer. That's exactly what you want. Now we're gonna dump in our flour. Oh, bloop, look at there. Kids are enjoying a good swim in the pool. We're gonna dump in our garlic, our basil, our salt. Well, I say our basil, it's a little sticky. Rude. We're gonna dump our salt. Now, the reason why you wait on the salt is because too much salt can actually kill the yeast. So if we add it now, that's fine. The yeast have got time to be yeasty. And a little bit of olive oil. And we're gonna put this on the mixer and mix it into a dough. We got our dough hook loaded. We got our mixing bowl set. We're gonna drop this guy in, it's probably gonna take about 5 minutes. You're gonna knead it until the sides are smooth, or not smooth, until the sides are not sticking to the bowl. That's what we're really after. So just a nice low speed, go do something while it's mixing. You'll know when it's ready. See how it's spinning and not sticking to the sides? That's exactly what you want. We're gonna give it about another 2 minutes like this to knead, mix up, and then the next step of just letting it sit and rest. And now that we've got the dough mixed and set and good to go, we're gonna leave it covered for about 30 minutes, let it get all yeasty and rise and work on that flavor. While that's happening, let's work on the sauce. And now the sauce. Behold, within the pan, just butter. Maybe we should mix all this other stuff in there and make something out of this. So we're gonna start out with our little bit of butter here. We are gonna melt that down. While that's melting, we'll pause and have the butter melted. That was fast. Oh wait, that was editing. Okay, now we're making our roux. With our butter melted, we dump in our flour and you mix. Now, with the roux, there actually are, I guess you'd say there's 4 different types of roux. There's the blonde roux, which is kind of what we're making here, where we just start to darken this. You don't want to cook it. The longer you cook it, the darker it gets. But there's the white roux, which is just, I guess, where we're at right now. But again, we're going to make it a little bit darker. We're doing the blonde roux. There's also a brown and a dark brown. Those are different. If you're doing like meat stocks and things like that, that's where that would come in. But the whole point of a roux, it gives you a nice thickening agent to do the rest of everything you're doing. So now that we've got our color right, we're gonna add our milk. Now the milk is slightly above room temperature. You don't wanna put cold milk in because it'll solidify this. That's not what we're after. We just pour in a little bit. Pour a little more. And just keep the party going. Now that the milk is nice and situated in there, see how it's kind of thickened up a bit? We're now gonna add our cheese. We're gonna casually put some of it and mix. The biggest thing is to do your ingredients a little at a time so that way you don't lump up. A little more. And now we're ready for the rest of the kids to get in the pool. Hey, you. All of you in the pool. All right. And we're gonna keep on stirring this until everything's melted and mixed and happy and joyful. We're gonna add our little bit of oregano, a little bit of salt, our pinch of pepper, and for our piece de resistance, garlic. Because, I mean, it's Italian. You've got to have garlic in there. And we're just gonna keep this stirring at low temp for a minute, making sure nothing sticks, nothing binds, and it all just gets well incorporated. So we turned off the gas and we let it cool down while stirring. And like you see, we've just got a nice, thick, white pizza sauce. This, my friends, is going to be absolutely delicious because believe me, the smells we're getting, oh yeah. So now, let's worry on the chicken. It is time for the chicken part of it. I've got 3 fairly good sized breasts here. Now, you really could probably get by with 2, but I want a pizza with just lots of meat because, well, I'm a bit of a carnivore. So we're gonna take these, we're gonna slice them long ways and into pieces so that way they fry up a little quicker. They more surface area, gives the salt, pepper, and garlic a little bit more places to bite. Plus, it lays better on the pizza. So let me show you how to cut this guy up. We're gonna take and cut it long ways to cut the breast in half. And then just knurl your fingers so that way the knife blade's touching on the backside, and just slice in and get your pieces a little bit at a time. Once we get all 3 of these breasts cut up, we'll let them take a nice hot bath and enjoy the rest of their day. Now, while we're getting the butter melted to flavor up the chicken and everything, we're gonna go ahead and get our stove kicking. We're gonna turn this guy up, believe it or not, to 550 degrees. Pizza's cook quick and hot. Looky there, looky there. The butter has melted away and disappeared. It's time to slide in all that sliced chicken to apply some heat. Ooh, sizzle. Is that not a beautiful sound? All the little chickpeas are in the pool. Now, before they get too hot, we're gonna do our little bit of salt, a little bit of garlic, because you want every layer to have flavor, and a little bit of pepper. And we stir all this together because I think biting that one piece of chicken would taste rather bad. Now that we've got our chicken all mixed with the butter and salt and garlic and everything coating every little piece of it, what we're gonna do, we're gonna take and like you see, it's all whited up, but it's still very pink in the middle, very raw. So to keep it from burning, we've got our heat on low. What we're gonna do, we'll put the lid on it. That'll keep all the moisture and everything, keep it from drying out. And I've got to go get some popcorn real quick because I forgot it up in the man cave to make, you know how you order pizza, you get that little stuff on the bottom of it? That's just cornmeal. So let me run and get some popcorn. We'll grind it up like we did the flour and we'll get checked back on this. It won't take but a second. Okay, I got my little popcorn for the popcorn seeds, and we're gonna, something's different here. Whatever. Anyway, we're gonna check this, make sure we're stirred up. Oh man, this smells better than I remember. But now that everything is done, all the meat's cooked through and through, we're gonna go ahead and cut it off and we're gonna roll out our dough. Sauce is done, chicken's done. The crust has been mixed and made, but it hasn't been rolled out yet. So let's do that. We have our doubled in size crust here. What we're gonna do is take my lovely snow maker. We're gonna set our nice white stage here. Whee! I'm telling you, this is fun. You should try making messes. We'll take our dough. Come on to Papa. Oh yeah. Be light and fluffy for a moment. We're gonna lay him out, and by the power of the French roller, we're gonna roll him out till we get him You know, the question is, what kind of pizza do you want? Do you want a square pizza? Do you want a round pizza? Today, we're doing a square pizza. Kind of like, you remember in school, the cafeteria, the square pizza, was that not always the best pizza? So we're gonna do it that way. And speaking of best pizza, if this is something you guys are enjoying, how about you do me a favor and give me a like and a subscribe? Hit the bell if you're really feeling wild, because I really want to get one of those silver play buttons. It's the plaque they give you, and it takes a while, and I need y'all's help. So if y'all could hook me up, I'll keep cooking. Thank you. We've got it rolled out a little bit. Let's try our hand at the old hand tossed dough, where you like work it, spin it. I ain't throwing it up. Knowing my luck, it'll stick to the ceiling. We'll just work on stretching it and spinning it till we get it out to the size we want. Now, before we set the dough that we've got all rolled out into the pan, what we're gonna do, we're gonna make, because I still got my little grinder here I like. We're gonna go ahead and make a little cornmeal. Do you know that popcorn is cornmeal? So, you know how I told you earlier about the adjustments? I'm gonna just kind of show you how this works. I've got it on the roughest setting, the coarsest, and we're gonna run the popcorn through it, just so you can kind of see what the final product looks like, depending on how tight you grind it. All right, we're gonna pour this in the top like you see, and notice how much faster this is working than it was before. It's only because we're grinding it really rough. Now to do this, you have to make sure that your mixer is set on high. If it's not on high, you can actually overheat the blades because you're cutting it too slow. See how this is more of this is just, I guess you'd almost call this cracked corn. Something, I guess if you were making chicken food, this might work, but this ain't what we want for our cornmeal. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna run it through the grinder again, and I'm gonna set it, let's put it about middle ways, and let's see what we get out of it. See how the middle phase, we're a lot finer, but I still want it just a touch more for that pizza. Again, we're not making flour out of it, but you do want that grainy, I don't know, cornmeal texture for the bottom of the pizza. And there we have it, ready for the bottom of the pizza. So let's get it in the pan. And lo and behold, look at there. It's almost square. I mean, it is pizza. Best thing about homemade, it's made at home. It's not made in a factory. So if it's not perfect dimensions, it tastes the same. So we got our pan here. What we're gonna do to keep this guy from sticking, we're gonna take those little bit of, I don't know, what do you call these things? Crusties, granules, the nubs on the bottom. And we're gonna shake them. Well, that didn't work. Let's try again. We're just gonna make a nice coating of these everywhere, hopefully to keep the pizza from sticking. And we'll set this thing right in there. We're gonna work it to fit. Indeed so. Here is our sauce off the stove. We're gonna literally put the whole, all the amount in there. Because remember, nothing gets left behind around here. Come on, everybody, get to the party. Nice, clean, aromatic pot. And we're gonna spread this sauce out just like you would, a pizza? Now when I'm doing this, I usually try to get this as close as I can to the edge. That way your crust, or as I generally refer to it, the pizza bones that are left behind, you just don't have much of it left. That way everything is marinated, covered, tasty, and ready to go. And now I'm gonna take the chicken. Ooh, look, absolutely hot. Let me set this off to the side. We're gonna take our chicken, hot as it can be, and we are just gonna absolutely, liberally coat the top of this white cheese sauce with the white chicken. Yes, indeed. Now, from here, what we got here is more of the traditional Bianca pizza, but I'm not traditional in a lot of ways. So now it's time to add a little color, a little flavor, just a little more stuff. Let's start with, boom, mozzarella cheese. We are just going to liberally apply supply big old honking hunks of this stuff because it's cheese. What else, you might ask? Tomato, straight out of the garden. Yes, I know, totally destroys the whole white pizza look. But man, these tomatoes this year are absolutely delicious. So we're gonna slice of these. And let's see, what else can we put on there? Well, I was gonna put spinach on here, but I hit the freezer and guess what? It was gone. I think someone must have come and got it. I don't know. But anyway, we got this guy ready. Oven's hot. Let's slide her in that 550-degree oven for about 10 minutes. Come to the warmth. Not today. I know you're hot. 550 ain't no joke. Woo. All right. Now, if you have a convection oven, slap that guy on as well. It'll keep the air moving inside of the oven, heat the whole thing at once. So let's see, 10 minutes from now. Ooh, timer. We have, oh yes, we have pizza. Man, look at this. Bubbling, ready, yes indeed. And hot. Look at this right here. Look at that. Man, I tell you what, is that not saying get in my belly? Oh yes. Let's see what we have here. Slicing right through it, getting that melted cheese. Man, it's got some good stretch already. Oh yeah, this, my friends, is gonna be one that will disappear quickly. Man, oh man. Woo, got the stretch. Oh yes. Now I'm gonna let this cool so it don't just slide off the end. But look at the fact that you can't take a bite of this thing without getting chicken on it. Oh, this is gonna be delicious. Oh yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and, yes, I'm using a fork because it's hot and I'm hungry and I just don't wanna wait. So we're gonna pick it up. Oh, no. Have to have the whole tomato now. Don't do me like that. Gotta have the tomato on the bite. All right. And the chicken. Man, this is the most complex bite of the meal I have ever shot. All right, let's see what we got. Yep, good homemade crust. Got a real good flavor to it. Garlic throughout the whole thing. Then again, it's pizza. How can you really go wrong with pizza? The biggest thing to remember with this is, well, actually it's two things to remember. There are people who believe in Bigfoot and there are people who are wrong. And now that we're done with the first slice, it's time for the second. I wonder if the chickens are in the background. Can you hear them?
I can hear them right now.
Yeah, okay.